All right, guys, this one is going to be the assembly for my Blade 2 inspired kit. Now, I've had this kit for a while, and it was only in the filament FDM version, and I only had assembly diagrams for it. Well, now I'm going to also offer it in the resin version, and I wanted to go ahead and make an assembly video which will cover both versions. So we're going to assemble the resin version today, which I love these resin versions. They are so slick and smooth. And this resin that I've spent way too much money on getting formulated and stuff is super, super tough. And I'm stoked about it because it's allowing me to do a lot more things that I couldn't do previously. But here's all our little parts and stuff. On the resin, by the way, like just when you rub them together, if you get any little white marks, I mean, you can rub them right off, but again, we're painting ours. Sorry if the camera bumps. I've moved the camera closer to me and tilted it to try to give you guys a better view to match my view, and allows me to set in a more comfortable position. And when I hold things up, I'm not reaching way out. I can hold it up and see exactly, you guys can almost see exactly what I'm seeing. So anyways, long story short, let's get into this real quick. We're going to have our orange tip, which you guys are required by at least US law to put that on after you're done painting. We've got our two little slide locks, little things on the side for this is based off the H&K, is what they use as the base gun. We have our little faux slide lock, our little barrel insert. This is like the little laser pointer flashlight thing that goes on the front of this barrel surround here. And this is our rear sight. Holy crap, my brain's not working today. And we have our trigger. And the only hardware for this one, this is a very simple build. We have a spring and we have a 20 millimeter M3 Allen screw. And I believe that's going to be a 3 millimeter. I believed wrong. It's going to be a 2.5 millimeter. So even the fold out set of Allen wrenches should have a 2.5 millimeter Allen in it. I just got me some of these cool little new Allen drivers, which makes life much easier for what I'm doing here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we can go ahead and glue our slide onto the top here. And we want to make sure that it's setting down, you know, against the body where it's supposed to. And you can kind of check to make sure that this slides on okay. It'll be kind of a tight fit when you get back there, and kind of keep that in mind too when you're painting. You know, you want to leave enough room between the body and stuff for you to slide all this together. But actually let me back up real quick. Before we glue the slide on, we can go ahead and put our trigger and spring in. It's easier because we have access to the top and bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our little 20 millimeter. We're working with this hole right here. And what we want to do is make a couple little turns, check a couple different directions, and we're looking for it to be 90 degrees to the body here. So if you check a couple different angles, you can make sure that you're going in straight. And these screws cut their own threads. Brain's still not working. So if you notice there's a spring pocket back there, spring will go into the trigger just like that. And what we want to do is kind of bend our spring down. And I bent it down too far. So you can take like a little Allen wrench or something. And maybe you got it the first time. I did not. Let me just start over. There we go. So anyways, it's in the spring pocket, and it's in the spring pocket of the trigger. So what we want to do is start screwing this in, and we would need to make sure that we hit the hole in the trigger and we don't miss it. If it instantly stops and your trigger won't move, you miss the hole. So back this up, and you'll have to move it around 2 or 3 times. And remember, the hole is at the front of the curved surface of the trigger. So I hit the hole there, moves just fine. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and screw this all the way in until it bottoms out. And my dog's over there starting to bark at squirrels. Don't you start barking at those squirrels. Hey, y'all have to excuse the dog barking at the squirrels, because her and the squirrels don't get along. They make fun of her. So anyways, real quick, we're going to go ahead and put our front and rear sights on. Okay. Oh, actually, we won't be putting our front sight on, and I have to remember to take this out of the print file for this when I moved it over to resin, because this gun doesn't have a front sight on this because it's built into this barrel surround. So what we're going to do is go ahead and put our rear sight on, and our rear sight will set. I'm trying to remember this, guys, so forgive me, because like I said, this is an older kit. And it's been a long while since I've built one of these. Some of you guys, a bunch of you guys have recently built one, and you'll be like, no, it goes the other way. But like I said, I've had assembly diagrams, and this is just going to slide in. And the best way I've found to always center these things is just kind of grip it on both sides and use your feel, and you can tell when you've got, you know, the part centered. And all I'm going to do is wait for my glue. Oh, by the way, I normally say this at the beginning of the video, but you can use thick super glue for the assembly. Now I'm kind of holding this up so I don't scrape all that across where I just... You can use thick super glue for the assembly, or you can use a CA glue, which this is the CA glue. It is basically a thick, slow setting super glue that you spray it with an activator and it starts instantly setting. This is a brand that I've been using for a while now, and I finally got to start carrying this on my website. You know, out of the 5-6 years I've been using it, I've never gotten a bad batch, which any of you guys that use a lot of CA glue and stuff like that, or just super glue in model assembly or do anything, you know you can get some bad batches. And I've been very impressed with just every batch that I get. It's good. So no complaints there. But anyways, it's there on the website. Some of you guys have already purchased it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and glue our slide on. And when we glue our slide on, not only do we want it on, but we want it all the way forward. And while we're sitting, now don't push it too far forward, because of course it can ramp up off of there. We just want it to come up and set up against the end of this right here. And that's what we're looking for. So let me open my glue again. I really have to start cleaning out the tips of these glue before I start shooting these videos. I keep having to check the display on my camera. I'm not used to where, like I said, I've set this camera at. It doesn't take much. And on this, I'm going to go ahead and spray and set that on there and squeeze. Put some pressure on it. Give it a minute for that glue to get all good and set. Okay, so there we go. That's glued and done. All right, so now I need to slide that on and check, make sure everything fits. Okay, it does. Then I want to slide this on and slide it all together and make sure it all still fits, and it does. So what we can do now is glue our little dude onto the bottom here. And when we're done with that, we're going to take and glue our barrel in. And you can glue the barrel in first, but I like to do it after I put this on. That way I can make sure that it gets centered in here. Because if you glue this on now, you may have a tendency to rock it left or right while it's drying, which I have a tendency to screw everything up as I touch it and do anything. So as long as I have this glued on, I can hold this barrel and make sure that it's straight. So if you want to look at wherever all the contacts are, basically it's the front of the slide and down in here. You don't have to get overly, you know, because again, this barrel surround is going to wrap around the whole thing and make a real secure fit. All right, I'm just going to put a little glue down both sides and a little ziggy on the bottom. And I'm just going to hold pressure up, and I pulled it back, and I'm going to go ahead and spray, which was way too much spray, but you know, hey. All right, and after that sets, real quick, we're going to grab our dude here, make sure it still fits, and it does. So what we can do is, for this barrel, it is pretty much identical on both ends. One end you'll see that this chamfer is more pronounced, and that's the end that you want to put out at the, you know, facing outward. So I'm going to go ahead and put me some glue all the way around the rim of that. And again, some of you guys are way more careful with your glue, which normally I am, but I've had people complain that my assembly videos are too long-winded and I talk too much. And I'm like, well, you know, I have to talk to everybody as though you're a first-time person assembling of, you know, a kit. And I just can't assume that everybody has done this 100 times. All right, so our two little, excuse me, we're looking for this little faux slide lock, and there's like some thumb grip indentions on one side of it. That's the one that we want on this side. Sorry. This other one, actually, you know what? I'm trying to think. This one, and see that's something else that I have to remove out of this, because this one goes here on this side. This one goes on this side. This lever right here will not be in your kit. And this piece and this piece that I have is for another version of the H&K that is actually my Tomb Raider version. The slide and the frame are identical, except for those two parts. Of course, the Tomb Raider doesn't have the slide on, which you can't have the front sight when you slide this on. So forgive me. I'm trying to go back and redo these my other kits and get resin versions, and I'm trying to get assembly videos for everything, because for a lot of the kits, the diagrams work just fine, but the more complicated you go, the harder it is to convey certain things in an assembly. So I'm trying to get everything into one place, because right now there's assembly diagrams on the website. The assembly videos are on my YouTube, but I embed the assembly videos onto the product pages on my website. Hey guys, real quick thing, jump from the future here. I actually forgot throughout the video to show installing the hammer on here. So just, it's like all the other parts, it just simply glues right back here into this spot. Also the second safety lever Goes on just like the first safety lever. And sometimes it can get kind of chaotic. And then our little safety back here just goes on there. I'm going to spray this. Okay, and so before we slide this on, we want to take our little flashlight lasery thing here, and the laser dude or flashlight, whichever one that is, goes up top, and this one goes down below. It goes on just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue both of these in, then spray them. And again, a lot of people ask me, well, why are some of your stuff separate parts and some of your stuff like I could print these two pieces and this barrel surround all as one print, but this allows you to paint each individual part before you put them together. Not only because these are different colors than the barrel surround, but it also maintains the crispness of where they connect. So it maintains the realism of it's attached instead of just all, one piece. And so then after that, this will get glued on. I'm not going to glue this piece on right now because I am going to paint this. But in gluing this on, really the only thing that you really need to do any gluing is put some glue right there so that it comes up and touches your trigger guard and gets glued to your trigger guard. You can go through and put some glue in various different places, but just keep in mind that you have to slide this on. So if you put glue in here and you slide this on, you're going to smear glue all down your slide and stuff. And because it's not fully covered, see what's exposed is you're going to smear glue out here across all this. And you really don't want to do that. I mean, I guess you could back this up a little bit and put a little glue here, and glue here. And when you back up, it'll cover it. But be cautious of that, because when you back up, you're going to have a tendency to smear your glue this way. So always keep in mind when you put glue down and you put two parts together, you're going to have a tendency to smear the glue in one direction or the other. So for me, I would just simply put glue on the front trigger guard here, and you can put some glue like in the center right here if you want to. And because that slides and pulls glue back, it's still all going to be hidden, which is what you're looking for. And so there's the complete model. All this resin, golly, I can't get over the resin. And the resin is as tough, if not tougher, than the normal filament prints. Also, it has a much higher temperature resistance. Last but not least, this orange tip needs to go on here when you're done. That is required by at least US law to have an orange tip on a replica. That is y'all's responsibility. After painting, you must attach that. That's all I have to say about that. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, the details on that, yeah. Anyways, you guys know, you can see the difference between the two of them. But if you guys have any questions, just ask me in the comments down below, or just go to the website and shoot me a message, and I'll be more than happy to reply to you. And hope you guys have a good one.